board meeting to order now, and it's 6:55. We'll stand again for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Number 2, verification of notice.
The meeting was properly noticed at Herring's Lake Ripley Inn, the Village of Cambridge Post Office, the Oakland Town Hall, and the Oakland Town website.
Thank you. Move on to number 3, public comment. Would anybody like to make a public comment? Okay, well.
I would like to make a comment and thank Sheila for her service as a town board supervisor. She worked a lot on the fire commission and tried to get us going on that, and I appreciate everything you did.
Thank you, Sheila. Yes, we appreciate your service. Yes. Okay.
I do have a comment.
Oh, please come up.
I would like to just resurface Joy's suggestion about creating some sort of an ad hoc committee to be involved with oversight on the Enbridge situation until we feel comfortable that it's not necessary. I feel like I heard someone ask who these people were that have knowledge, and I know that we can point them out, and Mr. Goodman might be interested in helping with that as well. So I hope that the board will take that under advisement and consider putting something like that together in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you. And we should introduce our new board supervisor. Congratulations, welcome to the board.
Thank you. Speech.
Good luck.
Speech?
I have many questions, but
Oh, they'll be answered quickly.
I'm perfect.
Okay,
Looking forward to it.
great. Thank you for being here. So move on to the approval of the minutes from our March 18, 2025 meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from March 18th, 2025.
Jimmy made a motion. Did anyone want a second?
Second?
Okay. Tom second, and any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of approval of the minutes of March 18, 2025 meeting as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Meeting minutes approved. We'll move on to Fire Chief's report. Chief Russ is here to join us tonight.
Good evening, everybody.
Hi there.
Good evening. Thanks for coming.
I believe I did send out the monthly reports, and I know that you get one also from Ryan Brothers. So if there's any questions on those, as far as the EMS reporting, to mine it out, between Ryan Brothers and us, we actually covered a total of 63 calls. 5 of those were actually Oakland because we ended up covering 1, but the rest of them added up there. As far as the fire department itself, we're currently, the city does a 5-year outlook for their CIP projects, the capital improvement projects. Fire department, we also look out 5 years. What are the big ticket items that we are going to be needing to spend money on? What's coming due, vehicle refurbishments, replacements, things like that. So now with Oakland being in, part of this is, being open, transparent with you guys as to what we're looking at. Right now we've got, this last year we did garage door openers. We also did radio improvements, so we purchased 30 new radios, portable radios for the folks that are out running the calls. Jefferson County, a couple years back, did a radio upgrade. Lake Mills at the time was not capable of handling the upgrade that needed to be done with the radios, so our radios currently are not able to communicate with dispatch as far as the firefighters that are out on the grounds. My radio and a couple other radios we did upgrade. All the truck radios obviously were upgraded, but it was one of those things where we had to determine where we're going to spend the money. This year was the year that was planned for taking all the radios up to that. So that's an example of something that we did. We do have a tender refurbishment that we're looking at coming up. We do have some watercraft that's going to be coming up on the CIP back out in 2028. And then we're looking at 2029 right now is our next one. So we're maintaining our roster of 42 members. I just had one resignation and got one person that just applied. We're moving them to the PFC on Thursday here. We've been doing a lot of CPR classes for local entities around the area, a lot of residents in the area that are interested in getting CPR certified. We are a local training area, so we've been doing a lot of classes over the last month. Major incidences, ebbing and flowing with the brush fires. We get some help from up above and get the ground wet, and it kind of slows it down a little bit, but the winds are really kind of kicking the tail and drying everything out pretty quick. So brush fires are always kind of an interesting one. We like to get notified of them early. It makes our job a lot easier. We get there a lot quicker. We can stop them before they get going. For residents, it's always nice for you guys to call into Jefferson County Dispatch, let them know that you're doing a burn. I get notification through email that there's a burn at a certain location and address, and I know that Jeff calls me all the time when he's doing anything here in the township. So the other incident was obviously the fatal motor vehicle accident we had here on 18 and A. I look forward to being any part of trying to improve that intersection any way that we can. We had a great response to that. We had a first responder on scene with under 3 minutes. We had an ambulance on scene in under 6 minutes, and the fire units were all on scene in under 10 minutes. So I felt that's a very great response, being that we are a paid-on-call department. May 20th is our next quarterly meeting. So for those board members that wish to attend, the Lake Mills Fire Department and the townships that are contracted, one of the things that they have been doing is a quarterly meeting. We've hosted one with you folks being involved now, and this one is set for May 20th at 6:30 at the fire department. I'll be sending out information to the clerks and they can disseminate it to the rest of the folks. Any questions that you would have of me?
I do have a comment about Ryan Brothers. We unfortunately had to use them for my husband on Saturday morning at about 3 a.m. and we live on Park and 18, and it was under 10 minutes, the response time. And I was very satisfied with the response.
Thank you. Being in-house, Cody does task them with being out the door in a certain time frame. The report that I believe you guys get shows that they've exceeded those numbers. He does track those as far as them getting in and out. Response required 3 minutes. Actual response was 1:18. So yes, they're meeting their parameters. They're getting out the door within a timely fashion. So
Yeah, we're very happy with the response.
thank you.
Thank you.
And for everyone's information, board members and the audience, Chief Russ's reports, monthly reports, and Ryan Brothers' monthly reports are emailed to the clerk's office, and they are on the website. If you go to departments on the website in the green ribbon along the top and click on departments, and then there is a fire and EMS section, and those reports are in that section. They are updated every month.
Thank you for all your work.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Going back to the capital improvements, one of the things that is in the contract for the fire service is that we do notify you if we are making a large item purchase. The only caveat to that is if there's an emergency purchase that has to be done in a timely fashion in order to keep things operating as normal, but in the contract there is a date and time when we do have to give large capital purchase item process, but those are things that we do talk about at the quarterly updates. So
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Have a
you
good
very
evening.
much.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to number 6, discussion and possible action on request by Brandon Ziegelmeyer to rezone, excuse me, 2.0 acres from A1 to A2 with conditional use to allow for landscape and snowplow business and to store business equipment and materials at W8396 Perry Road in the town of Oakland, parcel 022-0613-1031-002. Hi, thank you for coming.
Your, for the board, your packet on Mr. Ziegelmeyer's property looks like this.
Yeah, so Mr. Ziegelmeyer had been here last month, and we went back to committee to discuss possible conditional uses that would be placed on his business. And so on April 8th, the planning committee met, and we discussed some of the proposed conditions that his attorney
One more of that stack.
had sent us, and we had a discussion on what would be happening at his home for his business for landscaping, and we discussed and approved a number of different conditions. They have been written up. They were approved, reviewed and approved by Mr. Ziegelmeyer's attorney, and they are in this packet here for you.
Mr. Ziegelmeyer has
Oh.
distributed a couple extra.
Okay.
What's that?
So
I just said you're distributing a couple extra.
Yeah,
Okay.
basically just what you were asking for, like the map or whatever.
Yeah.
yes, okay.
Inventory list is just something I had, I didn't go back through, and it was something for the bank, so there's some information on there that you don't need, but, I mean, that's
Okay.
pretty, literally everything that I own, but.
Okay. Guess here's another.
There's this and there's map.
Here's this, and here's a map, okay. All right, so the only items that were not on the conditions that we had approved were the number of trucks and other pieces of equipment, and it looks like that's what you're providing us right
Yes.
here.
Yep.
Okay. So it just wasn't a lot of time for Mr. Ziegelmeyer and his attorney to gather all that information
Right.
before we had to put it in the packet, and that's fine.
Yep.
Not a big deal. So, so this is what he is planning to put there. And this is a location of the
Yeah.
trucks. And the other item we had talked about was like a map for the
Yeah.
landscaping was,
I think that was, he distributed.
Yeah, I don't really
Oh,
have a way of
so this is-
modifying a print, so I kinda just.
no,
break
oh,
some
so it's just
spots out.
this line here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because well, right now, so where the line stops, there's already a row of trees that goes all the way to the road. So basically, picking up on that, and then right behind this, there's already another row that goes back. So just filling in that space.
Okay, okay. All right. And so we have in there that, that they'll be planting, arborvitae, or you thought maybe the white pine.
pines, yeah.
Either is fine at 5-foot intervals. Larger trees, he had offered to do that for privacy for his neighbors. So, so that's one of the conditions. So thank you for providing that.
Yep.
And so this was the rezone, and then these conditions were approved by the planning committee.
Yeah, now, I guess one thing that's never been brought up is, when the guy came to do the zoning, he said that I should add a building if I ever considered adding a building there. So I don't know, this was emailed to you originally, I believe. I just don't know if anybody had seen it or whatnot.
I think it
I
was.
just wanted to make, I guess, you aware of it. I don't know that I'm ever going to, but he said, since you're paying, he's like, you might as well put it in there now if you ever plan on maybe putting a building up.
Would-
We say, what we could do is approve everything as it is tonight, and then when you actually are headed toward doing that, we
Right, I
can-
mean,
you just come back, get the approval for that. It would basically be an amendment to the conditional use
Okay.
to add the
Right.
building wherever it ends
yeah,
up
because right
going.
now I've got zero plans on doing it, it's just
Yeah.
maybe
Okay.
one, obviously.
I think if you come back at that time, I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of things could change. Heck,
Well, right.
you could buy the adjacent lot, you could have a
Yes.
smaller building, larger building. I mean,
Right, so yeah, basically it's in there if I wanted to do it, obviously I wouldn't have to add him back because he's already
Right.
done
So
that,
you just
but
come, yeah,
I'm fine with that, because like I said, I've
Okay.
got no plans on doing it.
okay.
But I appreciate you letting the board know that
Yeah.
that could be something in the future that's contemplated, and
Yep.
we'll address it at that time.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Ziegelmeyer, or questions on the conditions? There's quite a bit of them. The planning committee thought that it covered all the necessary plans to help keep some noise down, the visual barrier, hours of operation.
I just have one question. The inventory list that you provided, does that have the actual vehicles listed?
Yeah, they're on there, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
like I said, I mean, there's a lot of information on there that you guys don't need, but I didn't have much time to kind of
Yeah.
redo it, so.
okay,
If you flip it over on the back
Yes,
page,
sir.
yeah, but those are there, and then they're also on the inventory list.
okay.
He's looking
All
at
right,
it.
how many trucks were we
Yep,
getting to?
it's double-sided.
Oh,
Didn't say.
I don't think it's
I
said.
know, I just want to make sure.
must have
this
passed
is
it.
what
It's okay.
Well, it's
Oh,
gonna be
here
a
it is.
lot. So do you have all these trucks on your property right now?
Yeah, yep.
6, 8?
Yeah.
So remember how last meeting we said there's only three?
Well, three and, yeah, yeah,
Three main trucks.
right,
The rest are used for snow.
right, yeah. And
So that's,
basically backups, I mean, a lot of them are, though, obviously, 2006, 2004, those $2,000 trucks. You know, they just sit there, they're not even insured.
Oh, don't use them then.
Right, well, no, I know, yeah.
Thoughts?
I gotta be careful here, but, so, can we identify the trucks that are gonna be, remember how your wife or girlfriend said the 3 main trucks?
Right,
Like, can we identify the trucks that you're using for,
yeah, the 2012 Ford. So basically, the ones I use, not all of them the same day, obviously, or,
Yeah,
you know.
Right.
It depends,
landscaping?
yeah, it depends, you know, what I'm doing, basically, but the, for the work trucks, it'd be the first 4. Those other 2 don't, yeah.
And then which ones do you use for snowplow?
Basically, that's kind of the same thing, mainly the main ones. A lot of the times, the 2011 doesn't even sit at the property. The worker just takes it home. And same in the wintertime, pretty much all these trucks aren't even there. One might come and grab salt and then go, but they drive them home just to be able to respond quicker, if that makes sense.
So these are used for landscaping
Yeah,
and snow removal.
But you say, on number 6, there's 6 trucks, no more than 6 trucks?
well, for business, yeah. The other 2 are my personal trucks.
oh, okay, all
Okay.
right, now it's
Yeah.
coming back to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which ones are your personal trucks?
The ones on the right. Oh, okay, so if you flip the page on the conditions, it says business and then personal.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay,
We're looking at 2 different
yeah,
Mhm.
papers,
Oh.
sorry.
the end of the attorney's letter, oh,
Okay,
I'm,
that's where the confusion.
all right.
Oh, we're looking at a different thing than you.
Right,
I'm
yeah.
gonna make a comment.
So you were looking
I
at
mean,
places.
the
I'm gonna roll
the
some
Chevy
on
and the
that.
personal one,
You
that's
get-
just
you
kind
get
of
a
a
big
fun
contract.
truck.
Where's that?
You're
Yeah.
gonna have me
What
wait.
sheet are you looking
Here,
at?
you need another one?
It's just gonna be a
Did you
problem.
just give us this form?
Yes,
Yeah,
that
you
just
guys
came
should.
out today.
Oh, you just gave that to us. Oh,
Get a nice
I don't
contract.
think I have that one.
You don't.
Oh,
Oh,
Go ahead.
there you go.
yeah.
Okay, so I see what you did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Assume we're limiting.
okay. Sorry about that
Assume we're
confusion.
limited. No,
We
it's
were
fine.
looking at this one.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so no more than
Right.
6 trucks and 5 trailers.
Right.
I mean, I have 5 trailers right now. One of them I'm gonna be probably selling, but there's 5 sitting there. Pretty much, 2 of them are usually in use at a time.
Okay. So then the personal ones are the ones you'll be using outside of operation
Yeah.
hours?
Yes.
Now, all these trucks are part of the business?
There's only one technically in the business, but the work trucks are what I use for business.
Okay.
Work, I guess, you know.
But they're not other people's trucks that are being
No.
stored on the property, they're all your
Yeah, they're
trucks?
mine. Yep,
Some are personal, some are business?
yes, yep. Yep. There's usually 1 or 2 broke down at all times.
It happens.
Oh, yeah.
And then this other one is just,
These trucks, so if you look at the work and personal, they should match what you were looking at.
okay,
I didn't confirm that. This was made months ago, so I just kind of printed it off last minute, but it should match.
okay, so these others are just the other pieces of equipment?
Yeah, yep.
Okay, a plow, okay, a salter, okay.
Yeah. I mean, you probably didn't need all the attachments and stuff, but like I said, it's just something I already had made up.
So it's fair to say the end of this list for vehicles and then equipment on here.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay. Okay,
And the CUP limits that, correct? I mean,
Yes.
6 trucks and.
Yeah.
yeah, so that'll be limited.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically the work trucks you shouldn't see past 7 o'clock
Right.
is what, yeah.
But if you want to get a lot more, if you want to get more trucks, you'll have to come back,
Right,
because
yeah.
that'll limit
Yeah,
you on what you
yeah.
can have.
I mean, I don't have plans on that. I'm already, I don't, I pay enough in insurance already, so that's why a couple of them don't even have insurance unless they're needed, you know, one breaks down, then bring one other one on or whatever, so.
Okay.
Okay, and then the license plates are already,
Yep, so
Provided,
on
yeah.
at the end, it says the truck year, the make, model, and then what color and license plate.
Okay.
the board has any more questions, feel free to ask them to the applicant, or I can help with the motion to make sure we get this
I just
all-
want to make sure that you
Lumped in.
know of all the conditions and you have agreed to these conditions?
Yes.
You and your lawyer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, yeah, we went over them all last meeting, so.
Right, we went over them, and then
I
they
added
would
one.
just, yeah, he actually offered a couple on here, and then after the meeting, I wrote them out and gave them to the attorney, and I
To add a
assume
couple
you,
more, yep.
yeah, he looked through that.
And you're
and
certainly aware of the
approved it.
neighbors and their concerns, and
Yes.
most of that looks like it got addressed here.
Yep.
Okay. How do you want us to?
Go ahead.
You want me to help with the?
Yeah,
go
Okay,
ahead.
I just want
Yes.
to make sure I got everything that was submitted. So there's this map,
Yes, there should be 4 different things.
the conditions,
Yep,
the map,
yep.
it's the
list.
inventory sheet.
And
Okay.
then this is something that you guys probably already have, like I said, but if, it was just kinda, I asked the lawyer, I'm like, well, this hasn't been brought up, so he said you probably just bring it up.
I think I did.
The building's kinda hidden, it's in a big group of trees.
Okay,
I have a large
Yep, yeah. and it's on
survey
there.
map from the county, but we don't have the capability to get that,
I've got one, yeah, I
the
think-
size of
Okay.
this map.
I don't,
I don't think this is needed for a
no,
motion.
I don't think so for the motion, no. All right, so a way you could frame the motion if you wanted would be a motion to approve the conditional use permit and rezoning for the subject property on the agenda with the inclusion of the map that was provided by the applicant and the inventory list also provided by the applicant to be included within the CUP and attached to it.
One thing you did mention, I guess, as far as the time frame on the trees, I mean, you can tell me, you know, if you want them done tomorrow, I can have them done tomorrow. It doesn't really, if you wanna give me,
Okay,
if you guys wanna give me like a, a time frame.
I mean, probably a May 15 or June 1st is what I commonly see on this type of a condition.
Let's go June 1st.
June 1st, okay.
Okay.
With that, all right, so,
So we'll add that to the,
mhm,
to the,
number 10.
number 10, to be planted no later than June 1, 2025. Okay, that gives you enough time.
Yep.
All right, I'm good with it.
Good. So you want to put it in the form of a motion? You want me to restate?
Yeah, just, restate it.
If I was making the motion, what I would say would be a motion to approve the conditional use permit and the rezoning for Brandon Zingelmeyer's property at W8396 Perry Road, with the attachment of the map that was provided along with the inventory sheet and the addition of a sentence to paragraph 10 that says that plantings will occur no later than June 1st, 2025.
So moved.
Okay.
I got to earn my dollar somewhere around here.
Yeah. So Jimmy made a motion. Would someone like to second that motion?
I will second that motion.
I'll second.
Or did you already second?
You already-
Any further comments? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor of approving the conditional use permit and the rezoning?
I
I
thought-
think June.
Dave,
David, oh, sorry, thank you.
Okay. So all in favor of the motion, say aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so motion carries. So you'll go next to the county.
Okay.
And it's possible that they would, we'll give this to them, but it's possible that they could add anything that they want to
Yep.
to this.
Okay. Sounds good. I appreciate it.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Do you have this? Here's the one with the. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Okay, we.
On to the,
Okay. We will move on to number 7, discussion and possible action on the preserve at Oakland, formerly the Oakland Hills Housing Development, approval of the preliminary plat. Ms. Schneider. Thank you for coming.
Congratulations to David, Joy, and Laura.
Thank you.
My name is Deanne Schneider. I represent John Didion. It is the 67-acre parcel pretty much across the street from this location. And we are coming before you tonight to request that you motion to approve our preliminary plat. We came before the planning and zoning last week, and just for your purposes, David, you've probably never seen this before.
I was here last week.
You were, okay. So, for those of you who don't know, this is the plat that you approved back in December for us, the one on the back. There have been a few changes. They were at the request of either members at the town level, engineers, and/or members at the county level. So the changes that have happened in between were that Jim Rowe actually recommended a turn lane at the entrance so that anyone going south out of the subdivision could get out quickly without waiting for those turning left. So that has been added. The sanitary district engineer requested the easement go from 20 feet to 30 feet, and that was done. The emergency access that was requested by the county board was approved actually by Chief Russ, and that was added as well. So that is at the south side of the subdivision on A, pretty close to where the sanitary lift station is. The next thing that happened was when we phased the land, we actually had to have the lot numbers correspond with each phase they fell in. So prior, it used to just wrap 1 through 100. Now we had to actually have 1 through 45 in phase 1, 46 to 82, phase 3, 83 to 100, phase, or 2, and then phase 3. We also needed to phase the wetlands that we will be donating for tax purposes. So just to make everyone understand kind of what is behind that, when you develop land, part of the ordinance is that you have to donate up to 5% of some land back to the town or to an entity for public use. So the wetland that's going to be donated is considerably more than 5%. How Mr. Didion plans to do it is 3 long slices, and that is so that if it takes up to 5 years for us to get through selling phase 1, he doesn't lose that tax donation in phase 2 and then have nothing left to donate. So it would just correspond with each phase that we release that individual part of the outlot back to either the Lake Management District or the DNR, which is what we're proposing to gift that to. And then we revised the name of the community. One of the things in working with Leanna and the Lake Management District, we had several names of streets that were things like Goldenrod and Copper Iris, and we wanted to just change the naming convention to all speak to that and our desire to preserve the wetland that is to our south. And so we have renamed the subdivision the Preserve at Oakland instead of Oakland Hills. So those are basically the changes. Since we came before you, we did actually purchase and close on the land from the Cornstead family across on Highway A. So that has been deeded to Mr. Didion, and at final plat recording, it will be dedicated permanently to the county for road use. So that has been done. The sanitary district agreement has been finalized, and the construction plans have been finalized. We actually have received, since this last meeting for the planning committee last week, we received Matt Zangel's review comments for our final plat, actually, so kind of a step ahead. And we're in the process of just remedying any little loose ends with that. And that's pretty much it. So at the last meeting, attorney, how do you say your last name, Michael?
You can go with Michael.
Okay. Michael had asked that we add the word grading to the motion, so I just put that in here this time as well. So the request that we have of the town board is to approve, recommend the approval of the Preserve at Oakland, subject to the following conditions, and that would be Jefferson County preliminary plat approval, Strange Engineering and Grading's plan review response, donation of the land to LRMD, execution of town developer agreement, execution of town stormwater maintenance agreement.
So which phase, which color is the first phase?
The very first phase, Joy, is the green, the larger green on the right.
I
And
can't read the numbers.
I know, it's pretty tiny.
And for the, I guess, the board's information here too, I did lay this out for the Plan Commission and send some here tonight. I'll do the same. This is a phased development, both on the platting side of things and also on construction. So as Deanne mentioned, there's phase 1, which is in the green, phase 2 in the pink, and then the upper left, which is a bluish purplish color, that is phase 3. How this will work is right now you're approving the preliminary plat, which encompasses all 3 phases, so you can see what's intended to happen. That'll, if the board's inclined to approve that this evening, that will end up heading to the county for the county's approval. Shortly thereafter, in the next couple weeks, there'll be, well, there's already been the submittal, but on the board's, I'm sorry, on the Plan Commission's agenda will be the phase 1 final plat. That'll be the actual subdivision itself of land for just the phase 1 area. That'll go from Plan Commission to Town Board to County and then get recorded ultimately with the Register of Deeds. The developer, when he is ready, will submit a phase 2 final plat, and it will follow those 3 levels again of approval and then get recorded. That will be the subdivision of land for phase 2, and then the same thing goes for phase 3, going through those 3 levels of approval. The final plat that is submitted at each of those 3 phases needs to be substantially similar to or almost exact to the preliminary plat that you approved. Otherwise, there'll be issues with that. There'll have to be changes that occur more largely to the development. That's not intended to happen. That's very much provided by statute. Once you submit a preliminary plat, the goal is you're going to submit a final plat that's very much the same as what the preliminary plat was. So that is kind of how we are going to proceed with this development. If the developer, as Deanne mentioned, that there's the possibility that phase 2 and phase 3 may not get developed, or there may be kind of a fizzling of the desire to subdivide these lots or sell these lots longer term. That's something that is always a possibility in development. Obviously not the goal here, but that would be addressed in a development agreement to ensure that if these lands remain vacant, phase 2 or phase 3, that they're addressed and maintained in a way that won't cause problems for surrounding areas. Very low likelihood that's to happen, but that will be something we take care of in a development agreement. So that's kind of the overarching theme to this site.
So, and you don't have green space. You mentioned something in the planning committee. I was in the back about some kind of picnic area or something. I mean, you spoke of something.
The green spaces
community area.
The green spaces that exist right now are the different wetland outlots surrounded by the ponds. So you'll see northeast wet pond, northwest wet pond. There's southwest wet pond that kind of wrap between all of the lots. Cornstead Court, so when the Cornstead family sold us that land, one of our goals with that street is to make that actually a communal space. And then all of the wetland area that we're dedicating, the Lake Ripley Management District made it clear they're not in the business of putting in paths for subdivisions. However, they would consider the donation of the land. So one of our goals is in working with Paul Skidmore. He's a landscape architect out of Madison. He's actually been an elected official in the area too, is to have walking trails that kind of go through the trees and along here for the residents and up and around the ponds. So that's the extent. We don't have a park planned, but there's definitely the nature connection piece that we're looking to have with the community.
And none of this would be any elderly housing or anything like that?
The housing itself is not zoned for 55 plus. The housing is for whoever wants to purchase a lot, regardless of age or family status in the community.
I think that's a change from the original, though, right?
The original, mm-hmm.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, back when Ted was president, there was a different, so the plat I came to you in December for that we approved was basically this, except for these few changes, where we discussed the departure from the senior and the departure from the multifamily. And the main reason for that, again, just to kind of remind everyone, is the market studies that were performed showed that there was not enough investment dollars, if you will, to support putting up 4 units that developers were interested in that would kind of offset the cost of construction. So it just was not a cost benefit to provide that type of housing.
But since this is in phases, if that changes in the future, would you possibly consider that for, are you,
We
you
might.
aren't?
We might, however, as attorney, I'm just going to say
Michael, that's fine.
pointed out, because we're going for final plat and it's phased, if we were to depart from what we're presenting to you today, we'd have to go through a replat process for those.
I get it.
So, just to let you know, like I used to work for Horizon Development years ago, and so my background is in WIDA Section 42. I started in senior housing 42. I love the program. I talked to Scott Kwasinski at Horizon about would we fall within some of the targets, and there's just not any interest in this area right now for it. Could that change 5 years from now? Yes. So we could be having a very different conversation. But, the way our goal is to try to sell each of these phases in 2 to 3 years. We think that that's about what the saturation for this particular size of community can handle. Go from there.
I know, town of Oakland has a real need for senior housing.
Everywhere does.
Actually, we don't have anything
Yeah, everywhere does.
for 55 and over.
Part of our challenge too, Joy, is like with where we are, unless we were to have Yes, we're part of the planned growth area for the town of Oakland, but the zoning, the 80 by 80 minimums, and some of the other things that are in place preclude affordable housing options. So I think as a town, that's something that we can be thinking toward for future, is what are ways we can create zoning that would allow for a higher density, so that we can bring some of these opportunities to the town. But right now, we had to work within the zoning that we have.
Thank you. And for the Lake Ripley, or the Lake Management District, is that considered in this?
It's identified on, what you're looking at actually is the phasing map. The plat looks as more black and white. And on that document, it contemplates
It's on page 2, Michael.
and in the notes as well. Yep, page 2 shows the outlot 2, 5, and 7. And we have stating on here on the preliminary plat, outlot 2 will be dedicated to the Lake Ripley Management District. I will also add that the town engineers review comments on the preliminary plat, which are very much forthcoming very soon, if they haven't already.
No, not yet.
Not yet. They were recognizing that 5 and 7 will also be added to that note to state that they're intended to be dedicated to the Lake Ripley Management District. Your motion tonight, which is in Deanna's packet as well, which reflects what the Plan Commission did too, was a motion to approve the preliminary plat subject to engineering comments.
Jefferson County preliminary plat plan approval.
Yep.
Satisfying Olive Strand Engineering and grading plan review, their response letter, donation of land to the Lake Ripley Management District. There's an error in there. And the execution of the town developer and town stormwater maintenance agreement. So developers agreement.
Yep.
So you worked with the Lake Management District?
We're still currently working on it.
Our next meeting is the 19th.
You're still involved in this
Yep.
as a board?
May 19th?
April 19th.
April 19th.
April 19th.
So your entire board is working on this?
Well, our legal counsel is working with their legal counsel, and when we have something to bring to our board, I'll bring it to our board.
There's going to be there's a separate agreement between Lake Management District and developer that contemplates the actual dedication of the land. And that agreement has to jive with what is ultimately shown on the preliminary plat, as well as each final plat too.
And that is something that Adam, which is Lake Ripley's attorney, and Paul, which is Mr. Didion's attorney, have been working on back and forth the last few weeks. So Leanna has received a copy of that, and from what I know, we're supposed to be on the agenda for the 19th.
So we're not we're just saying that the agreement has to be done just to satisfy all requirements.
Right.
And then it'll be on the plat as well. So if it changes, then the plat isn't correct.
Right.
So that's why we are saying that it has to be part of our approval process.
The donation of the land?
The donation is
Which is worth
required.
something to the Lake Management District.
Sure.
It's a donation that's required. It's not donation to the Lake Management District that's required. We're hoping they accept our donation. If they don't accept our donation, it's ready to go and on the plat for us to donate it to another entity.
So it doesn't have to be
Right,
the
right.
management
I have
district?
backup conversations with the DNR.
That is their only option. It's got to go to a public entity to satisfy the requirement.
So hopefully they'll say yes. We shall see.
And we're saying that it's a condition of our approval of the plat, because we're approving something that's reflecting a certain fact, that is a dedication to the Lake Management District. If that condition can't be satisfied, then they need to come back to get approval of the preliminary plat again, because That
So-
didn't happen. Mhm.
We need to actually name the Lake Management District? Or do we say a public entity in our motion?
You could say Lake Management District or the DNR, so we don't have to come back for that simple situation. That's reasonable to me, because those are the only two options.
But you can't just say public entity, you have to name it.
Yeah, I think we should, just so it's clear for the record. I don't think it hurts.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay. Should I just read this we have?
Yeah, I think you pretty much,
Okay, so I will make a motion to approve the preliminary plat for the Preserve at Oakland, subject to Jefferson County preliminary plat approval, satisfying Olive Strand Engineering and Grading Plan Review Response Letter, donation of land to the Lake Ripley Management District or the DNR, and the execution of the town developers agreement and town stormwater maintenance agreement. So does anyone want a second motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, Tom second. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any additional comments? Hearing none, all in favor of approval of the preliminary plat, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion carries.
I will add one comment to the town development agreement and the stormwater maintenance agreement likely to be on the town board agenda for our next meeting.
Yes.
Are you making that a general development agreement or just the development agreement? for
Thank you.
this?
It'll be for just this site specifically, and it'll contemplate much of the phasing that's occurring, also addressing other related items that they've proposed and how that's going to get handled. We'll make a mention of the donation agreement, that actually, in fact, occurs, that donation happens. Trying to think what else. There'll be a letter of credit that'll have to be provided as well. There's certain guarantees with regard to the roadways that are going to be dedicated. There's going to be an obligation on the developer to not only maintain those until they've been dedicated to the town, but then also make any repairs for up to 12 to 14 months thereafter, if there's any deficiencies. Those kinds of things will be in that document.
Okay. We'll move on to discussion and possible action on 2025 road construction projects. Jeff?
I wrote up a letter, you all should have it in your packet. These are just my recommendations. Feel free to look at them, drive the roads. If you have any thoughts, concerns, questions, feel free to contact me. We'll go over something. I'd like to make official recommendations for bidding at the May meeting, so that'll give us a month to give you time to look at it and see what your thoughts are. Similar to what we've been doing in the past since COVID hit. Just discuss Laura and I discussed possible projects, did go and look at a couple, and this is what I came up with. We did have some discussions on some drainage issues that could possibly be coming up, so it was brought to our attention, so that's why it's on here. You all may recall that from the past.
Yeah, so there is some drainage issues at the corner of Grace Lane and Potters Road, and the homeowner called. We went out there. Looked like it might be a simple fix with a culvert, but based on surveying, it's not as simple as we had hoped it would be, just based on the elevations. But it is flooding out his yard. He showed us a video of that. So that's something I'd like everyone to think about, potentially getting a cost estimate engineering done that would give us a possible solution and a possible cost on that, because I think it's something that we should address. It seems like it's something that is more than what you would typically see on a piece of property. So consider that as well as you're looking through everything else.
So what you want approval for to start with is the South Oakland?
Yes, but I mean, this is
Just
all.
send
this is
out
all for-
bids?
This is all for the May meeting, take your opportunity to go drive it, have any other ideas, I just wanted to bring this to you so you had time
Oh, okay.
to mull it over, and if you have something else, feel free to reach out to me and we'll discuss it. And
So if we approve it in May, that gives enough time for bids to go out?
yes, yes. Last year we went with the county, because we had some funding left over.
Okay.
Very pleased with their work.
Mhm.
Plus, they give us a pretty good price.
Yeah.
Because they bid out all their blacktop in the beginning of the year. And they're non-for-profit, I mean, they're not trying to.
Yeah, things aren't gonna get much cheaper.
No, as we saw from Park Road.
Yeah.
So,
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone
Any
have any
further
questions?
Is the Potter Road one, is that culvert that's so bad that nobody drives on Potter Road anymore?
No, it's farther down to Grace Lane.
It's down farther?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
So is so would the entire Potter's Lane, used to be, Potter's Road, would that be entirely done?
No,
That
just-
culvert does that every year.
Yeah,
It
actually,
raises up out of the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes it so, it's a bad speed bump there.
Yeah, it also doesn't help that that's where the city's, water
Well
line
is,
comes through
right.
too, so it's
Okay.
like a double long,
Okay.
so,
It's not an easy fix.
no.
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Okay. Getting out of order here. Okay, so moving on to discussion and possible action on $2,000 equipment request from Jefferson Fire Department. Joy, do you want to address this as the Jefferson Fire Department contact?
We received an email, you have a copy of it, from Ron Wagner, the chief. They're in need of a UTV, and he's asking the municipalities that they serve for a donation of $2,000 to help raise $10,000 towards this. For the town of Oakland, this is one of our main things that we need for their service area. It's to get in and out of open areas, acreage. If you read over the email that he sent, he's described that they've gone through having it die on site or not being able to use it at all. They've done upgrades on it themselves, and it's just not useful anymore, so they need to get a new one to service the land areas. I think personally that they've gone above and beyond to help us out in our need, and if we can give them $2,000 towards this, I think it will be well spent. and well-used in our area.
Do you know if the others have approved it, the other townships?
No, I
Is
do
that all
not.
tonight, or is it?
I don't know if any of the other municipalities have approved it.
Where would the money come from?
We'd have to take it out of reserves.
How much do we have in reserves?
I don't know exactly on top of my head.
More than 2,000?
More than 2,000.
Okay.
It would be fire reserves, or,
I'd have to look. I don't
Okay.
know exactly.
So if everybody donates, every community that is in this district donates to $2,000, they'll have $10,000 that goes towards this, and then they'll have to make up the rest.
right, they'll do fundraising for the rest. They're not asking the city for anything because they never use this in the city.
No.
So $10,000 is not going to be a complete buy for this.
No. But it'll replace the UTV that they have, and it will have additional space on it so that they could use a cot for the EMS. And so that
Explained
would
what
be
they
helpful
want.
too.
Right.
All right. I'll make a motion to approve the $2,000 equipment request from Jefferson Fire Department.
Jimmy made a motion.
I'll
Any-
second it.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor of $2,000 to go towards the equipment request from the Jefferson Fire Department, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Okay, moving on to number 10, discussion and possible action on Town Hall Key Agreement. You have just a form in your packet. At one point, there was a form that had been issued, and the employee who was keeping track of that has long gone, and we realized that there are quite a few people that have keys, and Susan and I thought it would be necessary to have a form that everyone can sign. We'll keep files of it, so we know who has the keys, when they're returned. It is not just employees and the board members that have keys. Their keys are issued to the Lake Ripley Management District employees, the Cambridge Cable, who's here today, members of the Oakland Sanitary District, and so our employees are, besides the clerk office, our public works, our police. So there are quite a few people, and we just feel it's really necessary to keep track of it all so that we get keys back when people leave and no longer need it, and also if they fail to return it upon leaving, or if they lose it at any time, they would be responsible for reimbursing the town for replacing the locks and all of the keys. And so we just feel that this is necessary just to help keep the town hall and all of its contents more secure.
So why does it say item borrowed, date borrowed?
Well,
Because if
If it's a
it's
key-
not really borrowed.
Well, it is. If you are given a key, you're borrowing it because you have to give it back.
Okay.
Right? Because you don't get to keep it.
No,
Right.
okay. I didn't know if this was going to be somehow used for people who are renting the facility to, why are you saying borrowing a key
Should be.
for the rental?
They certainly can. We certainly can, because we do have several people who rent the hall for,
I guess, okay. I was just thrown off by the borrowed.
So it's fair to say anybody who's issued a key would
Right.
fall under this policy?
yes. Yes, and so then we'll keep it in a file so that we have it all there, so we keep track of it as it once was. In case Susan leaves, we know she knows who has the keys, but, just to make sure. And this also protects anyone who has a key if they return it. Then,
So, but how do we deduct it from the salary if we don't give them a paycheck?
Well, then we'd probably have to invoice them.
so we
But
can,
that
we can change that
really-
to, or invoice them if
Okay.
they
Right.
don't have. But at the Lake District, if we talk to Jimmy and Leanna, we could talk further with them if they have employees that have our keys. We could send,
Failure to pay for replacement costs will result in a deduction of salary until balance is paid.
Or an invoice will be issued.
okay.
Yeah, I think we should add, because
Yeah.
not everybody gets a paycheck from us.
Right.
Okay.
I'll add that.
Or an invoice is,
And
Are
it's
you-
fair to say, go ahead.
Are you okay with doing that? Because
Yeah.
when I had asked you about it, you said you didn't know how that would be done.
I did not, but we have since figured it out.
Okay, all right.
And it's fair to say if someone doesn't want a key, they don't have to take a key.
no, if they don't
Okay.
want a key.
Perfect. All right,
No,
I'll
so-
make a motion to approve the town hall key agreement with the added language of, or invoice added to the line right after, or the word right after salary.
Okay. Any further questions or comments?
I need a second, too.
First, I need a second. Would anyone like to second the motion?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Jimmy and a second from Tom. Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye?
Aye. Opposed? Okay. We'll move on to Enbridge update. Okay, so I just have a few updates. I have been monitoring the DNR website for updates. I also spoke with Caroline Rice from the DNR today. She is the project manager to ensure that I have the most up-to-date information to share tonight. So since our last meeting in March, Enbridge's environmental consultant collected water samples from the private drinking wells and one high-capacity well, all within the half-a-mile radius of the site. The analytical results show that all samples were below the detection limits for VOCs. Enbridge also collected surface water samples in the adjacent stream. Samples were also collected by Leanna Spencer at the Lake District at the same time. They had the split samples. They each submitted their samples to a different lab, and all samples were also below detection limit. So this is great news that we're not seeing anything at that time. Last week, Enbridge started their free product recovery. They are using those PVC risers that some of you two probably have seen in the vicinity of the spill. Do you remember that, those big pipes? They started collecting the free product, and they'll be doing so on a weekly basis. Last week was their first week, and so there's been no report submitted yet to the DNR on how much was recovered this past week. But they are sending weekly updates, so we should know more soon. They started to prepare the site for continued excavation. They removed some of the concrete, and this week they are excavating more soil in the area as proposed in their work plan. And they submitted their soil vapor extraction pilot plan, and they're coordinating with subcontractors for this effort, so that will be starting up soon. And Enbridge is also in the process of coordinating with drillers for their monitoring well installation, and that is expected to be installed in the very near future. So that's what's happening at the site right now. They are still waiting for the calculations that the DNR had requested about the calculations for how much oil had been removed, and they are waiting for that submittal. They have not received that yet. And so that's what's been happening so far. And I'll keep on reporting back. We should have more information in the next couple of weeks. So they had a little lag as they had their report submitted. So now work is beginning. Well, more work is beginning. They have done work in the past quite a bit, but additional work is starting now. So any questions about that?
Would this be a proper place to make a motion to look into setting up an ad hoc committee?
No, we don't have that on our agenda.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions about that?
Thanks for the updates.
Okay. Okay, so,
Well, and the last question that was just posed, on information regarding or exploring or doing research or things like that, or research that's perhaps been done, anybody can submit to the DNR any information that they wish to submit. Them being a governmental agency, they can receive anything they'd like. And members of the public can also request information from the DNR.
I realize that.
Yeah, we're going to be very limited in what we can do with this site and this location because this is the DNR's jurisdiction. They have full control about how a environmental remediation occurs. So, I mean, certainly there could be for a topic for a future agenda item, but forming a committee, that committee and/or the town board wouldn't have any ability to take any action that would come out of said committee or by deliberation of the town board because the DNR has very much sole jurisdiction over an environmental remediation and control over it. And if it's not going to be the DNR, then it would end up being the county before it got back to the town.
But if it's more than one person making all the conversation and the research on it.
well, anybody's allowed to go up on their website.
Well, I realize that, but during a board meeting for the public to know, for instance, Mr. Tooten's submission that his son put together.
Well, he discussed that already.
And he provided that, and that's, again, something, though, that he can submit to the, if he wants to submit to the town, but there's nothing that we can act on with regard to that
Right,
report.
well,
He can submit
Laura
to the DNR.
can't act on anything either.
It's solely the DNR's discretion, ultimately,
Correct.
that can take any action, accept information, act on it, or not act on it, or reject it outright. It would have to go, though, if Mr. Tooten would like his information heard by a public government agency, it should be directed toward the DNR, not the town, because the town is very much a bystander to this whole process. The DNR has the exclusive right to control, manage, and respond to an environmental remediation matter.
Okay.
So I just want to make that known for members of the public along with the board. Environmental issues are very much a state and sometimes a county matter. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, next item.
All right, so moving on, approval of disbursements.
I'll make a motion that we approve disbursements, beginning with electronic funds transfer to the Wisconsin Department of Revenue through and including check number 1247 to the WTA in the aggregate amount of $180,478.81.
I'll second.
Okay, we have motion and a second. Any comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the approval of disbursements, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion carries. We have correspondence, including the April 8th Plan Committee draft minutes and the Towns Association officials workshop information. So please, that's
The official work,
this one?
okay,
It's on the top of your stack there.
right. We should also do the towns associate, or the district meeting, announce
Yeah, and I have not received any updates from anyone about the April 29th meeting, so
Yeah.
I don't have any new information.
Okay, but just to announce,
Yeah.
I will check with Tony Latch because we are supposed to get the reimbursement for the refreshments that night.
Yeah.
But
I
it's
believe
April
they'll
29th at 7 o'clock for
At-
the,
At the last meeting, they gave them the reimbursements at the meeting, not beforehand.
Right, right.
but I'll find out who is going to present.
Yeah, they usually send out an agenda.
Right.
And I haven't seen one yet.
Okay. Okay, so any other correspondence we're missing? Announcements? Okay. So future agenda items, we have a couple that will be on future agendas. We have short-term rentals and burn ban. So those will be included on future agenda items, and I'm sure other things will come up as well.
Are they going to be on the next agenda?
I don't know at this time. If they're ready, they'll be. I'm just probably, I mean, maybe, I don't know at this time. If they're fully prepared, or at least at a spot that we can present, then they will be.
The auditors will.
Oh, the auditors will be here?
in May.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Any chance that the township would, as a future agenda item, place on your agenda the request of the township for the DNR to consider a corrective action plan? You have a voice.
Okay,
You don't have a responsibility.
okay, I
don't
appreciate that. Hey,
disagree.
we're in a town board meeting now. We heard your comment. We'll take it under advisement. We heard your comments earlier tonight, but we're deliberating town board business at this point in time. We appreciate your comment, though. Thank you. Well, where are we?
Next meeting.
Oh, okay.
So our next meeting, oh, we will have the auditors here,
In
most
May.
likely in May?
Yes.
Okay. And that will be held on May 20th. Okay, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Jimmy seconds?
Second.
Okay, all in favor of adjournment, say aye.
All right.
Aye. Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.